Hello, chat. This is just kind of a theme now, where I start with a soothing voice as I speak into the microphone as you stare at some art, on the "We Will Begin Soon" screen, and then we'll all suffer together. You, me, everyone. We suffer together forever. Because guess what, everyone? We are live, ladies and gentlemen. And this time I actually made sure to double check and, ensure that the screen being captured is the actual screen I want captured. Today, we are finishing, hopefully, Onision's third book, Reaper's Creek. We are joined by Popcorn. Say hi, Popcorn.
Hi, how's everyone doing?
And we're also joined once again by Carmen. Say hi, Carmen.
Hello. I was dragged here against my will.
That's a good one. Anyway, sorry,
Considering I'm the one who asked if we were doing this or not.
I forgot to zoom in my camera so that you don't see the entirety of my apartment behind my blocker. I had to forget one thing. It's tradition, and we also have Swift in chat. Say hi, Swift. So,
It's good to know, Swift.
So we are picking up. Didn't the last one finish with Greg killing God?
Well, let me put it this way. Last time on Onion Ball Z, Greg ascended to Super Saiyan level 1, split into two beings, and killed every alien on Earth, a few humans, and God himself. There's really nothing else you need to know.
Oh,
now,
there's also one other part you forgot. He repeated Sisyphus and trapped God inside his trapped death inside his love interest.
Not really inside her. He just kind of turned the Grim Reaper into a marble and gave it to her for safekeeping.
It's like the budget version of Sisyphus. It's just sort of like it's like, here, take this. What do I do with it? I don't know.
Yeah, budget Sisyphus is not a good Sisyphus.
Also,
that war crime of that image I sent you, I bit into that area, there's no filling.
No.
Oh, no.
Carmen got a dud Pop-Tart.
You can show them the image, but
yeah.
I'm staring at this. The area that had no icing has no filling either. It's empty. Yeah. Oni-san tainted my Pop-Tart.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. You can see right through it. There's no filling.
Uh-huh. What the hell?
Wow.
All right. So let's pick this.
Hang on. I'm just getting my chat moved over to my second screen so I can see both.
You plebeian.
Yes, it is.
I am with my 3 monitors. Oh, and
considering I have a 30 to 40-inch monitor and then a tiny desk monitor, I don't have room for a third monitor.
I don't either, which is why one of them is mounted on an arm that's mounted on my desk.
Yeah, I have one of those arms. My desk doesn't have the ability to have that because it's got tubes as legs that wrap around under the desk. So the arm the arm kind of can't clamp down.
And we also have a Kepler.
Hello, Kepler.
Whenever I go into calls, whenever I start talking, he comes over and tries to sit on my lap. It's really cute. All right, here we go. Gotta get more obnoxious. All around the world, I can hear. I read the wind. I can hear people screaming. I can see them being violated, robbed, beaten, broken down in every way. They were made in the corrupt God's image. Some represented his good side. Others were embodiment of his evil. I grew tired of the sound of suffering, as I not only feel their pain as they felt it, but it distracted me from from finding the answers not even I could provide without my knowledge and power. I had improved the world when I gained full realization of my ability,
But that didn't stop nature from taking its course. I created the body to be my better half, to stand when I cannot. And now I had a great task for him.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yeah.
I like how the in the body is also capitalized, kind of like the cheat in Homestar Runner.
Also, I want to point something out. Look at the very first paragraph. What is the first thing he lists? Violated.
Oh yeah.
Gotta have rape at the top.
Yeah.
Gotta have rape at the top.
Yeah, he's pretty fixated on that.
Considering how much of it is in this fucking book.
I improved the way. I read that. The buddy stood next to me, waiting for me to vocalize a decision for our next actions. I knew the buddy could hear the screams as well. I knew he could hear my thoughts and my focus on the pain of the world. I spoke. I need you to. In the middle of the sentence, the body disappeared.
In the middle. Did you say it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you said what I was gonna say.
Give me hand.
Yeah.
Give me hand. He knew I wanted him to be better than God. To be better than the Reaper, and to reverse the destruction God caused when he killed his sister. First, that would require the body gaining knowledge of how the world truly was before God, to analyze the code, to see what was changed when God wiped out all of his sister's children, made them poor, corrupt imitations of them. When my creation could focus on the issues of the world, I could focus on Krull. Unfortunately for me, Krull was a god of gods. You would assume to locate someone at the absolute height of the universe's hierarchy would be difficult. But in fact, chronology was my first strategy to locate him, and the strategy was effective.
Yeah. You would assume that finding the god of gods would be difficult, but actually super easy, barely an inconvenience.
I love how chronology, the study of time, somehow helped him locate him.
Oh no, it's actually.
As usual, I had opened a rip in reality so I could effectively scan through the data of the universe, the code. I searched back to God's initial code creation, the first time it existed in all of existence.
Bitch, that's not chronology. That's looking at the history log.
Yeah, chronology is looking at the fourth dimension and seeing time as a concept and seeing all of time before you. Fifth dimension is matter, physics, and all of that. It's like, dude, get your fucking rules right. You just hacked the universe. And wait a minute, didn't he already say he no longer registered as code? So wouldn't the God of Gods also no longer register as code? So that using...
Theoretically...
I think I'm thinking about this too hard.
Well, theoretically, if Kull doesn't exist as God... as code, he would still be able to figure out where, go basically to the start of the history in the code or some shit. Basically, he would go to version 1.0.
Is it wrong of me? I was really hoping that he would rip open reality and then just a giant piece of shit would hit him in the face and it's Cull just shitting on him.
Oh, I'm sorry, you opened the portal right up my toilet. Hello.
That's how the first universe got created. Toilet got clogged.
Merry Christmas! Shitter was full!
God was in fact not only created second, but the apparent request of his sister. She wanted a brother, someone to guide and inspire with her creations. However, Cull did not code God properly. Cull made many mistakes with his daughter's much younger brother.
The
What?
God of Gods. I want to point out that this really highlights what little respect Greg has for the idea of gods, in that the apparent most powerful, best god is still a total fuck up.
Yeah, because
I mean-
well, I can tell you exactly what he's doing here. He's trying to intermix Christianity's perfect God with older pantheistic beliefs where gods are flawed and have very humanistic traits which were designed to allow humans to understand them better. Not realizing those two belief systems don't mix because either a god's all-knowing or a god's flawed. It can't be both.
Right.
To give description.
And the,
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
just last tangent. And with the pantheistic ones, the closer you got to a god of gods, the more you just became a concept rather than a being.
Yeah.
Such as Gaia is a concept. Tartarus is a concept.
Like
Kronos was a
beyond our full
concept.
understanding.
Yeah, they're the rules of the universe rather than physical beings.
Alright,
So yeah, that was just a flawed misunderstanding of pantheistic beliefs.
yeah, like I know very little about religion. Even I understand that shit. Well, well more so like I don't understand it as like an individual. I understand like the concepts around it, but like whatever.
To give description to the timeline of Kull's creation to God's creation would be best explained through comparison.
Oh no.
The dinosaurs were a creation of Kull. I can see this in the signature and coding style of Kull. The explanation for their extinction, from what I can understand, appeared to be unintentional. The more I analyze Kull's coding, the more I realize he was nowhere near as thorough as his daughter.
Yeah, unlike his daughter, he didn't put comments into his code. The monster.
Okay, I'm calling it now. At some point, we're gonna come across lizard people in this.
Millions of years after the dinosaurs came, humans, just like God came after Kull, only in a time frame of millions of years after the dinosaurs came, humans, just like the God came after Kull, only a time frame of trillions.
What? Hang on. Millions of years after the dinosaurs came, humans, just like God, came after Kull, only in a time frame of trillions.
Okay, so here's a fun little historical fact. Yes, and that sentence makes absolutely no sense. Some dinosaurs are closer to ancient Egyptians than they were to the dinosaurs at the beginning of the dinosaur eras, because there were many eras that lasted millions of years. Like, the dinosaurs were one of the longest lasting animals on the Earth, and they had 5 different eras with 5 different generations of them. So it's like, okay, you're taking an extremely long period of time, and oh god, stop thinking too hard about this. You're making yourself have a brain aneurysm.
Translate this. Millions of years after the dinosaurs came, humans, just like God came after Kull, only a time frame of trillions.
I still don't understand the sentence.
I'm not trying to parse out the logic of it. I'm just baffled by, like, there's one missing comma at the beginning of the sentence. So the first section of it is millions of years after the dinosaurs came humans.
Yeah.
But the time frame of trillions, what the hell does this mean?
The more I compared God's code to his sisters, and then to Kull's, the more I understood exactly what happened between Kull and his children. More importantly, through all my analysis, Kull became incredibly easy to find. He had not moved since the death of his daughter. I focused my energy on instantaneous travel, and I simply replaced my current location with that of Kull's, only approximately 20 feet away from him in an area with no conflicting objects or hazards.
Convenient.
I did, however, put a modification in my own physical form to ensure Kull would not detect me, and it worked perfectly as I planned.
Also convenient. The God of Gods is unable to see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before me sat a man in a stone throne, gray as you would expect. The handles of his throne cut sharply into rectangular shapes, the back raised far above his head, and the legs blended into the ground without seams, almost as if the chair had grown into place like a tree.
That's a pretty stereotypical that's a really boring throne.
Also, apparently we're back to portraying gods as the pantheistic version rather than the Christian version where they're not actual beings, but make up your mind, Greg, please.
Yeah, cutting out the search does make the book shorter. Thanks.
Above me appeared a small glimmer of light that somehow illuminated the whole room. It was as if in a tree with a tiny skylight hundreds of feet above me. The room was surrounded with indentations in the gray stone walls. It was the basic code I first learned to modify basic elements in my life. What? The room was surrounded with indentations in the gray stone walls. It was the basic code I first learned to modify basic elements in my life.
It's a terrible sentence, but I get what he's trying to say. He's basically saying, yeah, but I'm not even gonna
modifying basic elements. Okay.
I need to just stop thinking about this because it's making my brain hurt.
Within seconds, I identified the code as the different variations of Cull's daughter. The process he went through to create her. The man in the chair before me, Cull, his skin was like glass, only the color of gray. I could see his eyes under his closed eyelids. One was blue, one was red. He had no beard, no hair in his head, but his face looked so tired and old.
Does that mean you can also see through his eyes? Like, are his organs also like, Greg? This is leaving more questions than answers.
Yeah, it's like on the one hand, this is one of the most boring descriptions of an introduction to a deity and his throne room I have ever heard, but on the other hand, what else did I expect?
Well, I mean, I like the concept for a god, but like this is supposed to be like the god of gods. Like I like you would think it'd be like Cthulhu, like Lovecraftian in terms of magnificence. But no,
I just realized what his description is reminding me of. And this dates me, but it's reminding me of Ultima 7, when you find the evil dude's throne room, which is a very tiny throne room made up of stone walls and a giant stone throne that is like one of the smallest rooms you've ever seen. And I'm just reading this and I'm like, this reminds me of that, where it's just like, how do you do anything in here?
I sit on this chair, and that's it, and that's it.
If I had to compare Cull's appearance to that of a person on Earth, I'd say he resembled someone who was 145 years old.
Greg, how do you know what a 145-year-old human looks like? Like,
he had wrinkles everywhere. Even under his dark blue shiny garments, I could see he was shriveled and hunched.
God, and he's also made of glass, so he's like transparent, and you can see like the folds underneath the folds.
Also, what Swift said.
Yeah.
So that's why humans can merge with their couches. Also, I wish I was joking about that. If you seriously sit in one place for too long, your skin will merge with it. But it takes a very long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
After analyzing the room and the man himself, I decided I would make myself appear before him. As I lifted the veil around me, he suddenly opened his eyes and lifted his head towards me.
What's the point of having eyelids if you can just see through them?
The man's face began to shake gently, his blue eye filled with tears. Without a moment's hesitation, the man began sobbing in his throne, throwing his face into his old withered hands. I spoke aloud to the man. I'm sorry you're hurting, Cole. The man whimpered and struggled as he spoke back.
Okay, he wants to be Kull, the god of gods.
Although Popcorn doesn't want to, but I'm giving her the option first.
Just in case, I'm gonna save myself. For someone else.
Okay. I couldn't do it. I'm sorry.
That is way too good for this. Do it again.
Just let me do this.
Fine.
Let us have one good character. I've got to voice his fucking girlfriend. Let me have one good character.
I can see his emotions like anyone sees color. I can see his emotions like anyone sees color. The radiated out of him like ink polluting other colors as they're simultaneously submerged in water.
Well, that was a sentence.
This is just getting continuously worse.
I can also see, feel, and hear his thoughts in code, my own emotions, and my mind.
Before we continue, I would like to point out that one paragraph was actually rather well written. I spoke aloud to the man and ending with I couldn't do it, I'm sorry. That is the one good, well-written paragraph I've seen in this entire book. Because it conveys really good emotion that he does have some more he does feel somewhat sorry, and then the other guy is really upset. Like, that is the only good paragraph in this entire fucking book. So I just have to comment that one paragraph.
Oh, even that paragraph isn't too good because it's two people speaking, so you should be on different lines.
Yes, but compared to the rest of this book...
As Cole continued to cry, I realized why God had wound up the way he did. Cole created his daughter when he was midway through his life cycle. He created God towards the end of his life cycle. His daughter had become so lonely, and the creatures that were not her equal did not satisfy her intellectually or emotionally. As part of her code, she could not create her own, as Cole knew such a creation would force her to shorten her own life.
Why? Why, Greg?
Yeah, I guess gods reproduce like amoebas where they just split in half and become two beings.
So gods asexually reproduce, but wait a minute, wouldn't that mean if Kull created God, then God is Kull's brother?
my son, father, or uncle?
Sister, daughter.
Husband, son, father.
Uncle, grandpa?
So apparently we're following wait, no, son father wasn't Norse. I keep thinking it's a Norse myth thing, but no, they didn't do that. There's a mythology that did do that. I just can't remember the hell it is now.
Knowing his daughter wanted a brother of equal status so badly, Cole created God with his own life force. But Cole, having so little left, made mistakes, leaving him powerless to correct them and powerless to help his daughter if they ever were at odds. Cole spoke with even more composure than before.
I entered this world of gray eyes. Becoming a father provided me with feelings, thoughts, and hopes I've never felt before. I knew I made a mistake with God. I know how this sounds. But even if I could change him, I don't think I would have.
Oh, sorry.
My only regret is that I could not die in place of my daughter.
My only regret is that I didn't lock the door.
Yeah, I'm gonna go lock that now. I thought I did.
My only regret is Shrek 3.
Don't you mean Shrek the Third? Don't remind me.
The man continued to cry for a moment in front of me. then struggle while continuing to speak.
A father's love for his child. Even I cannot change that. You... Okay, bullshit. This next line. Fucking bullshit. But I'll continue. You give everything you have to your children. I just wish they didn't have to suffer because of my mistakes.
Greg has serious daddy issues.
Yeah.
The more I observed Cole's words, his face and his code, I could see how genuine and remorseful he was. I imagined using my power to bring his children before him, only leaving the aspects of God's corrupted code behind, but I knew Cole would not be satisfied without his authentic original children. I spoke aloud to Cole. I've seen your code, and I know that you cannot see mine as a result of my own evolution. I know you are incapable of bringing your children back. I know the pain you feel. I have seen much of your life play out before me through the many lines of code that make you who you are, Cole. Cole replied, somewhat agitated.
We are more than code. My son and daughter were living, breathing gods.
I stepped away from Cole and turned my back to him to look at the walls around us. I spoke aloud to Cole. You don't display your dice code on this wall. Cole replied.
Seriously, dude, break these fucking paragraphs up.
And vary up the verbs you use to describe someone talking.
Mm-hmm. Actually, if he broke these up, he wouldn't even have to say Cull replied.
Yeah, that too. But do both of those things.
It was in memory of her. My last bit of strength left after the creation of my son.
I went through the wall of the universe and searched for code once more. I found his daughter's code in the exact form it was just before she died. After modifying the universe to my will, I turned around to Cull and lifted my arm. As my arm raised, the world around us transitioned to show God's code instead of Cull's fallen daughters. Cull's eyes widened as he silently watched the world around him shift. I spoke aloud. You don't need to remember your daughter anymore, Cull. She's standing right next to you. Cull's chair became weak, and his head began to dip forward, and he collapsed in his chair. He could feel his daughter coming back to his reality, as she was, just how he remembered her.
Okay, so I'm not just going to recreate his daughter because it would just be a copy. He wouldn't be satisfied with that. Fuck it, let's do it anyway.
The woman was beyond description. I had seen no one like her before. The moment she gained consciousness again, she immediately went to aid her father.
Wow,
okay,
no mention of her giant tits. Nice restraint, Greg.
Yeah,
no description.
No description at all. It's like, okay. I want to pull an example from, what is it? The Last Unicorn. It's like, one cool thing that story did was, in describing how beautiful the unicorn is, there's, words aren't always suitable. So instead, you describe the emotions that you feel about the unicorn or about God's daughter, Cole's daughter, whatever.
I just realized God's daughter doesn't have a name.
Yeah, she doesn't get a name either. Cole's daughter has no description, no name. See her.
She's indescribably hot, I guess.
I'm just going to picture her as, a silhouette.
The way I described gods that are indescribable is their appearance changes per every viewer and perspective. Oh. So it's like even readers, it's a different thing. So instead you describe around them rather than describing.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
Do you know that like whenever like a page doesn't load correctly and it has like a box with like a slash through it to indicate the image didn't load? That's her. That's her.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, the universe is all like code, and Greg was the one that tried to put her back together.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like a blank white with a little X in it in the shape of a woman.
How you can tell we've actually got two people who do writing here because we've all described. How you can tell all three of us at least know how to write because we've all described different ways you could describe a descriptionless god.
Yeah.
Even if mine was a little bit on the silly side.
Yeah, just don't leave absolutely everything to the reader's imagination. That's not immersive, Greg.
Yeah, it's actually pretty counterintuitive.
Seeing them reunited, knowing their troubles are mostly behind them, I felt confident in the future they would influence without God to end what the world was. Or his own sister once more. It was time for me to give him.
Thank God I never have to voice God again because I did not want to voice God thanking him.
Okay. And now for chapter 23, Black Nightmares.
I decided to travel time in a slower manner than usual. I had a lot of thoughts and feelings I needed to give my attention to. While I was traveling through space at thousands of miles per hour, I still had hours before I'd arrive home. I felt like crying after seeing Carl see his daughter for the first time in so long. It made me wish I had someone to return to myself. Fuck my girlfriend. I felt dead to my mother, and my other family seemed to have nothing but negative feeling towards me ever since the incident with my mother's eyes.
Among other things, probably.
Curiosity, was this published around 2011, 2012, or after that?
This was published in 2018.
Wow, rip off Mariah Nikki much? A lot of this God shit sounded familiar to me, and then I realized part of it might have been inspired by Mariah Nikki. Which is basic. It's an anime about basically a battle royale to replace God who's dying. And everyone knows it because of Yuno Gasai, the pink-haired yandere, who was all over the internet for like 4 years.
I felt dead.
No.
The only people left in the world who knew I knew. The only people left in the world who I knew loved.
This is so hard to say.
The only people left in the world who I knew loved me was the body and Julia.
So one of whom is myself.
The only people in this world I love is my pedophilic girlfriend and literally my dead body reanimated.
My pedophilic girlfriend who also is a victim of brainwashing and mind control.
Yep.
Thinking of Julia,
hang on, I gotta adjust my camera.
Thinking of Julia, my pain from what I had seen and felt turned to concern. As the last time I saw Julia, I had given her the Crushed Reaper. I decided it was time to stop flying and get to where I was going. Ripping open the code interface, I found myself next to Julia seconds later. Julia was bathing when I arrived.
Of course she was.
So, is anyone else wishing that every time he rips through code, he just leaves a fucking wormhole that someone else could follow him through?
It's like his Dark Materials. Every time you open a portal to another world, a specter gets in.
God, this is now the second time that he has gone to Julia's place, and she has been in a state of undress.
Yeah, because he's referencing anime tropes because he thinks that is romantic. Because first, she's changing. Second time, she's bathing. Those are two anime hijinks. references that are usually rather irritating.
Julia was not surprised to see me there, thanks to how I changed her code. She knew I was coming.
That's uncomfortable.
She spoke aloud.
Okay. I know, Daniel. You could simply alter the code to make yourself get dirty or even clean yourself right away. But not everyone lost the simple things in life, you know.
I smiled and replied, "Sorry, I had a rough day. It doesn't see something like this." She smiled back and replied,
Oh, fuck me, no. I don't like that next line. I'm sorry for being so
I cut her off and mid-sentence with a kiss.
Ugh.
As I leaned in, kissing Julia, she grabbed me and pulled me into the tub as I screamed and laughed.
So I know that he's changed clothes since then, but I'm just imagining that he's in his bloody onesie pajamas.
He has never changed his clothes since he was 11.
He's just fully fucking clothed and gets pulled into the bathtub.
Super Saiyan in an elbow onesie, let's go.
I also want to point out that most bathtubs aren't that huge. So it's
No.
like, that's, like, I'm just imagining that it happens and, like, one of them bangs their head, the other hits their funny bones. It's like, this is a bad idea.
As someone who... Okay, so I'm not going to go into detail, but my ex and I tried to imitate some of these bathtub scenes one time. Unless you have a fucking clawfoot tub or an extra wide tub made for multiple people, it's fucking impossible. It's not just you banging your head. You're gonna be having your bones digging into fake porcelain. It is incredibly uncomfortable.
As I leaned in, kissing Julia, she grabbed me and put me in the tub as I screamed and laughed. With a little thought, my clothes were off, and we were kissing much more heavily.
So,
God, he skipped it.
Yeah, they skipped it, thankfully. You know what? No, this is the best paragraph of the entire book, because it only implied the debauchery that happened next.
Debauchery!
Hours passed. We found ourselves laying in bed, talking about numerous things that had changed in the world over the last few weeks. After a while, the Reaper came up. Julia had placed it in a thick metal box by itself in the ground outside.
You were fucking saying! Fucking Sisyphus!
After looking
Fucking stuck death in a box!
After looking at the code in depth, I realized I had evolved to a point since the body changed me that I could easily remove the Reaper from this world. Without consequence. I finished him without a second thought.
Okay, so first of all, you put death in a marble just so you can destroy him later. And second, is everybody immortal now?
Yeah, because that's what happened when Sisyphus shoved death in a box, so I'm pretty sure everyone's immortal now.
But can people still get injured?
No, because remember, Greg fixed it all. So there's no pain, there's no suffering, there's no consequence, which means humanity no longer has a purpose, a will, a drive to keep them going.
Oh, just wait, we haven't even gotten to that yet.
Oh, yeah, it gets worse. He hasn't removed all misery. We're getting there.
I spoke aloud. "Thank you for waxing out for me," she replied.
God, there's so much dialogue in this. You just erase things, don't you?
I replied with a sigh. If I don't remove certain things from this planet, people get hurt. Julie looked away from my eyes and spoke.
I know. But some people care about people when you... Some people care about the people you erase, Daniel.
I went silent for a moment, and after I thought, I went silent for a moment, and then after I thought, I spoke again. I love you, Julia. I'm sorry my actions have hurt you. I didn't mean to erase your pedophile dad without any chance for a redemption arc. That was silly of me. Julia's eyes began to water again, so she buried her face in a pillow.
Girl, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
By the way,
God.
I didn't mean a redemption arc. I meant jurisprudence. That's it.
Honestly, if we have time after the story's over, can we watch the overly sarcastic video on Sisyphus? Because it's kind of funny and fits with this.
Sure.
After a while, her emotions calmed, and we fell into sleep, despite not needing to anymore. I woke up the next day to the smell of breakfast. My roommate cooked for me. As I rubbed my eyes, I could see a massive blur standing before me. My eyes focused on...
Go away, Twitch notification. Hang on. Parody only. There.
As I rubbed my eyes, I could see a massive blur standing before me. My eyes focused and I realized it was the baddie. He spoke. See? I got fired! I got fired! Finish me, Jeep! I exploded with laughter. I immediately dove into the body's thoughts and saw Cole's daughter had returned to Earth. I could see the changes she made were extreme and elegant the moment I looked into the updated code. I searched
Here we go.
I searched the codes for prisons, military bases, even cancer hospitals, and they were all gone. Cole's daughter had done what I was afraid to do. She didn't acknowledge opinions or cultures and simply rebuilt the world the way she deemed fit. The body had informed me that she had already done half the things she was planning to do before she stepped in and corrected some of his shortcomings and took things a step further to more closely resemble her world pre-death.
Free will does not exist.
The body spoke to me. She has a message for you, but I'm sure you already know it. And he was right. But knowing something and focusing on it are two different things. So I was glad he brought it to my attention. The daughter of Cole, the returned god of Earth, wanted me to know that I was forbidden from altering her world further. She also gave me the coordinates of a location of the alien who had sent his own... She also gave me the coordinates of the location of the alien who sent his own kind out to torture me as a child. Jesus.
You're still a child. You've just had the big routine happen to you.
Yeah, I think last I checked, you were still chronologically 14.
Yeah, you just have an adult's body. Guess what? You're not Tom Hanks from Big, and even Tom Hanks addressed he was a fucking kid still.
Yeah.
I am slightly offended by the level of ego the new god of Earth flaunted, but it's also great that I can finally find justice for every torture I encountered as a child. After a short goodbye to Julia, the body and I found ourselves soaring through space to confront my childhood demons. As we approached their planet, I began to understand the blackness of this world made the rest of empty space look like the sun. It was a level of darkness I cannot explain.
By the way, does this mean that every planet has a god?
I think so. Maybe.
That or Greg is ripping off Fate.
The body and I floated in place far outside the atmosphere of this abnormal, beyond black mass as we studied the code of the planet. Earth's new god had highlighted the code of the alien commander in red.
Oh, so nice that God gave Greg friend or foe heads up display.
Yeah. No, she gave him aim hacks.
X!
I wanted to delete the code of the alien commander, but I wanted just to delete the code of the alien commander, but the body introduced another option. He spoke. He said you're good at erasing things, and I am like you, deleting the other beings as I see fit. I looked at the body as he glanced at this terrifying alien home planet. The body continued. Let's give this one a chance. With the new God of Earth managing everything, I had time to dig deeper in this world. The body verified that these aliens operated in basic code and were not a threat to us as I formed a platform and habitat for the alien to exist in as we spoke to it. Wait, what? The body verified these aliens operated in basic code and were not a threat to us as I formed a platform and habitat for the alien to exist in as we spoke to it.
What's happening?
Okay, so yeah, there's way too much information going on in one sentence with no commas, but the way I understand it, the body is explaining how this alien society works, and I'm pretty sure Greg is constructing some sort of box so that they can communicate with each other despite the language barrier.
Well, everything this commander did was clearly identifiable. The individual actions, communications, and even thoughts of this alien were difficult to comprehend, as most all the code reflected a culture and language that was incredibly foreign to me.
Okay.
Okay, I got a question here. If he's gonna rip off everything from anime to myths and shit, why didn't he rip off Coder here? Just have Greg rip the language out of their mind like Darth Revan did, and then implant his own into theirs?
We're not just talking about language. We're talking about culture. But the thing that Greg doesn't seem to understand is if he has he has introduced his character as basically like better than God, better than God. He is like, you know, he has a perfect understanding of how the world works, can manipulate it at will. So let's say for a moment that this character is flawed insofar as he can't learn no, actually, no, that still doesn't make sense, because he already has omnipotence in terms of knowledge. So, I guess, like, maybe he knows their culture, but he doesn't understand it, but even then, like...
Well, that's what I said. If he can literally see code, and he's already ripping shit off left, right, and center, just rip off Knights of the Old Republic, where Revan rips the culture and language out of aliens' minds, implants it into himself, and then does the reverse to them, forcing his language and culture onto them so they can communicate.
I mean, he doesn't even necessarily have to do the second part. Like, that's like the dark side. The neutral side is just taking their culture so he understands theirs. He could just stop there.
Yeah, he doesn't need to do all this fancy shit. He's literally God. He can just copy and paste their code into him so he could know what the hell they're saying.
The body helped transition both of us into a state that was unreachable by this alien, and upon finishing the quarters of the alien, I placed him within it, standing before us. The alien was behind a silver wall, and we could see in, but all the alien could see inside was black. I designed the cage of sorts to take anything we said to the creature to translate for the alien. It worked both ways.
Wait, so why did you
he's a trial.
He couldn't do that.
Yeah, and apparently now he's a Tralfal Midorian from Slaughterhouse 5. Because he's now keeping them in a little zoo that translates everything for them. All that's left is his ability to see all time as a fatalist construct that cannot be altered at all, and have a giant eye attached to his hand and a hand for a head.
Any thoughts, Popcorn?
No.
Are you just dying?
Yes, Squirrel. Yes, I am.
Also, Pink, yeah. Greg has gone beyond Gary Stu. He is Garrison Stewart.
I'm using that Swift, thank you.
Initially, the alien just made screeching noises and trying to find a way out. So we repeatedly attempted to calm the alien in his pitch black box with no way out.
I love this alien just panicking. He's just been teleported inside of a pitch black small environment. He's running around, scratching at walls in absolute terror. And I was like, no, it's fine. Calm down.
As he spoke, the alien stopped trying to find a way out and spoke directly up, even though we were on each side of the cage. My assumptions as a child were verified the more we listened to the creature talk. Much of the population of this planet was built on fear. They were so afraid of outside powers that they had entire space programs to seek out and destroy sources of energy coming from creatures that were or could become more powerful than them. The body brought something to my attention. I see Dad had done those creatures before. Looking at the code, I can see him. Looking at the code, I can see both him and you cross paths when you were just a baby.
Okay, but then why, if they're so afraid of outside powers that are stronger than they are, why didn't they go after God?
I guess maybe
The better question is, where the hell did Greg's powers come from?
the Black Rock.
Yeah, but where'd it come from?
Shut up.
Like, Greg has over-explained everything, or under-explained, but he has not explained where the fuck that rock in his brain comes from.
He doesn't explain
Whereabouts?
is because that would initiate an infinite regress issue of that would mean that something as powerful as him or more powerful had to create it.
No, we're gonna get to that.
All right.
Well, we got 6 pages left.
Putting further information, I verified what the body had pointed out. God had arranged for these aliens to figure out a way to kill me before I could even talk. The code revealed that God could crack the rock in my head, but never destroy it entirely, as it would always regenerate. God was using these creatures obsessed with fear to figure out how to eliminate the main threat to his own existence. He had convinced them I was destined to kill them. When he knew the one who was truly threatened was him.
Wait, so literal fucking God couldn't figure it out, but a random alien race could.
Yeah, excuse me, Mr. God. If you were so hell-bent on destroying a baby, couldn't you just, plunk him in a black hole or something?
But that would be too easy. After all, that would require Greg using logic or having any concept of theology whatsoever.
God forbid.
I know, right? I'm not sure if that was intentional popcorn, but that was great.
The body exploded with another discovery following the very same code even further back. Your physical code starts at the date of your birth, but the stone in your head is code that was created much further back with your mother, your original mother. My eyes darted up at the body. I replied with less shock and optimism than the body. My mother is the new god of Earth. The body looked concerned and replied, You say that like you knew. I replied, I'm sorry, there's just a lot. A loud screech came from the cage once more. The creature was threatening us, despite how obvious it was that he was at a disadvantage. He was kind of stupid. As I was frustrated and distracted at this point, the mother I was born of wanted nothing more to do with me, and the mother who created me didn't bother to even tell me who I was, or anything outside where these aliens were. Well,
the new goddess of Earth, wouldn't that be Cole's daughter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which means Cole's daughter, before she got destroyed, which was during the age of the fucking dinosaurs, somehow made a rock in modern day, jammed it into a fetus's brain so that it would stop her brother and possibly bring herself back into existence.
Regardless of her reasoning, yeah, effectively.
But that would mean this entire thing is fated to happen, which would go against Greg's entire point of fuck God.
Yeah.
He just countered his own argument.
Yeah.
Greg, you fucking idiot. You wrote a book against fatalism and made it a fatalist book.
Yeah. That about sums it up.
Let's just get this over with.
While Demon thought I felt the body wrap his arms around me. It was the first time I ever felt a giant hug me. I felt so powerless.
I assume you haven't met too many giants in your life, Greg.
The body spoke.
Robert Wadlow was already dead by the time you were born.
And so is Andre the Giant.
Hey,
Or is that who Robert Leto is?
Hey, cheer up, okay? Do it! Stop! Stood up, I chuckled a little, then patted the body on the side to let him know he could stop squeezing me now. He was killing me. He didn't stop until I punched him in the kidney. I rubbed my eyes and began modifying the alien's code. As I worked on the alien, the body spoke up. Ew! You thought your mom was hot? I stopped in the middle of coding. What? You're not my birth mom. I didn't even know that lady was my original mom. I mean, she made a rock, not my body or anything. The body laughed explosively. You thought your mom was hot? That's so weird. Now that you know she's your mom, you still think she's hot? Staring at the body, I finished Alien's code. I had erased all code revolving around my existence from this moment on. The alien was returned to their home, and I additionally returned the code I had physically destroyed as a child. All the families and soldiers I killed, sending them back to their planet without the memory of what happened or the memory of my existence. Even the coordinates of our planet were erased from their navigation systems and records. The body observed me do this and spoke. Okay, if your dad likes his man, that was pretty kind of you to just not kill him, huh? I smirked at
Thanks. Thanks for that split infinitive.
I smirked and replied, You know, I only have eyes for Julia, bud, and gross. You can go fuck my mom. The body laughed, saying, I know, I'm gonna fuck her too. And after returning, everything was in place. On the dark planet, we returned to our own.
You know what? Something I find kind of interesting is that Daniel was completely willing to alter the code of Earth in the least invasive way possible to improve life there for everyone, but he wasn't willing to do that for an alien race.
Yep.
Also, I only have eyes for Julia, says the guy who once contemplated that there were millions of people around the world that he could have been with instead of her.
Mm-hmm. But it also makes this story incredibly more fatalistic when you consider the amount of fridging, rape, and shit that happens in this. Means it's all supposed to happen.
Yep.
An anti-theist just wrote an entire story where the anti-theist who kills God follows God's plan.
Yep.
He seemed to be winning, and I was so happy to be part of that.
Chapter 24. The final chapter.
Yes!
Mother.
And it's only 2 pages long.
It had been years since I had seen the god of Earth. The body had altered his own code to be more normal-sized human, although he was still well over 6 feet tall. He mostly spent his time playing video games and racing vehicles in amateur circuits. Julia and I have been talking about having a baby and making our relationship more official. And the world itself?
Okay, that does not belong in the same sentence as about Julia and having babies.
No. They were going to make it more official, and they were thinking of bringing the world itself into it. It's going to be the ultimate polycule.
No, it's like, our relationship is going to be more official. Our relationship is going to be the entire world.
They're gonna use the world as an NFT for their relationship.
It is hard to find a single thing wrong with it. The economy was designed for the well-being of all. TV shows no longer reflected drama from our own planet, but they were most all based on what life is like on other planets with other gods.
Oh my god, I called it.
Yeah, so how is Earth taking the fact that there are not only other planets but also other gods?
They'd have to take it well because their free will has been erased.
True.
Yeah. After all, conflict isn't allowed to exist anymore.
Like, to the point where not even, like, their drama that is by its nature conflict, like, it's entertainment with conflict. Even that no longer depicts humans. It's all about stuff off of the planet.
You know, it sucks. That means there's no more anime.
Oh, no, there can still be anime. It just wouldn't be anime about Earth.
Fair enough.
Even Ka himself is not the origin of all things. There were many more worlds with many more creators as corrupt as and even more corrupt than our own former god. I haven't bothered to visit my family that brought me into my human form 20 years ago.
Wait. Okay, you go from a paragraph about how there are other evil gods out there, right back to the fact that you haven't seen your family for a while.
Yeah, the gods aren't about him.
It's like, okay, so what are you gonna do about it? Are you just gonna become, the god killer?
No, it's not his problem. Why would he care? It's not his problem.
I ain't bothered to visit my... I feel like they were still better off without me. The same goes with my school friend David, and even the house near the creek where I grew up. That was all a past I didn't want in my future. I was certain with our new god, they were all happy anyway. Just like the new god of Earth instructed me, I didn't physically alter the code of her planet or the people on it whatsoever. But I didn't need to, as my original mother is perfect, and no matter how much I evolved, she would still be wiser than me.
The fucking end.
End.
Okay. I'm sending you the link because...
Now, before we get into the candy, the decompression, I want to talk about the book as a whole. Is it just me, or does this book feel like he wrote each chapter sequentially without planning anything?
Yes, definitely.
Because
it's just this book is a very clear example of wouldn't it be cool if just writing everything up on the spot.
Even I think the reason why that is because the first, we didn't get all the way through the first book, but it definitely seemed more structured than this. Things happened sequentially. It felt like there was a purpose. I think the reason why Greg could not do that with this one is because this one was entirely built on a fantasy. Like, it had elements from his real life, as he mentioned in the introduction, but none of this actually happened. In the previous books, characters weren't just introduced and then dropped because he was just using his own life as a blueprint, which is fine. But in this one, without that blueprint to work off of, he was fucked. And you two keep going.
The only thing that felt consistent was his including a new power every single chapter.
Yeah, but the thing is,
the powers even seemed inconsistent.
Yeah, you have to create a set of rules for your magic system. Because if your character can just do literally anything, then the only thing that's ever holding them back is your own incompetent writing.
Mm-hmm. I have a friend. We discuss the Fate Stay Night universe, Fate universe, a lot, and we both read fanfictions in it. We also both discuss the sheer amount of work we go into to keep power levels consistent. For example, I rate a demigoddess, a demigoddess in modern day, who literally her main two abilities is, besides being superhumanly strong, which most demigods were, she regenerates damage. But I have to be very consistent with what she regenerates from, how and why, and how much damage she can. Like, I'm very consistent with that. For example, you hit her enough times, she's not going to be able to regenerate that right away. It's going to take a while, because she can't go past a certain point, or things like that. Or, like, when you're writing a Sherlock branch off, to use Fate again, like, Lower Malloy case files. A lot of people don't write it very well because they write the guy who's supposed to be the Sherlock stand-in as rather dumb, when you should go into it thinking, okay, this guy's the Sherlock stand-in. What should he know? And then how do I portray this to the reader? Things like that. Like, there's a lot of times you have to research power levels, intelligence levels, things like this, and you have to keep them consistent, or it just feels like you're pulling shit out of your ass.
Right.
Alright, I'm back. Sorry for any weird silences or anything.
You're fine. I sent you the link to the video, since we've got some time still.
Now, here's the ultimate challenge. And I like to do this with all the books we read that are bad at its conclusion. How could this be improved?
Well,
Besides not writing it and besides starting over from the beginning.
Okay, as my point, I'm just going to be quick about it, okay?
Yeah.
My biggest issue with the whole thing, plan out a more consistent magic system before you start writing.
Yeah, that was...
Because...
Yeah, no, sorry.
Because like I said while you were away, it's... Like, if your character can just do literally anything, they can just pull any superpower out of their ass at any time, then the only things that are ever holding them back is your writing.
Yeah, because, like, there were multiple points in the book where it actually happened where he encountered a conflict, and he literally just fixed it. Like, oh no, a problem. It's fixed.
To play
oh heck, it's time for me to go find the god of all gods. Oh, there he is.
To go on top of what Popcorn said, I would go with more consistent, not just magic, but power levels in general, and, like, mythology. But I would also work in... There are two things I would also add in. One, what is your consistent theme? Because for most of the book, it was very... anti-fatalist, anti-fate, anti-god, only to wrap up in a fate time loop you can't undo. Everything has to happen for Greg to gain his powers. So if you're going to go with the ending we got, then work in Cole's daughter somehow to most of the scenes, whether it's in the background or something. Work in this real mother thing.
Yeah,
but...
And I mentioned it already, but, like, on that point, just consistency. Not just consistency in themes, but don't, like the way it was written, it feels like he just wrote, wouldn't it be cool if, and the end result was, it felt like once Greg realized that he had written his character to be so powerful, there was no mundane threat that could ever, he could ever face, he suddenly ended up going up against gods. But he realized, oh no, if I just defeat God, that'll be the end of the book. So he had to write in gods. And then it just went on. And on that note, the aliens are really an afterthought. Like, there was really no reason for them.
Also, final thing I would say, if a woman's literally just being introduced to be fridged, just replace her with an object. Like, knock off the fucking fridging. Like,
thank you.
There was so much fridging in this. It was ridiculous. It's just like, dude, fridging is one trope you should never do because it just shows you're a hack.
Like instead of discovering a bunch of bodies, maybe you discover like a bunch of like buried body parts.
Or, like, instead of introducing a mom's friend with miscarry just to show how fucking awesome you are, you have an entire emotional thing where for most of the book, he's known this woman, and she shows up a lot, and he sees her over the course of the pregnancy, and he's affected by the miscarriage. And, like, maybe, for example, like, work in his powers to make that scene better, where it could be like, she still miscarries, but it's no longer fucking fridging because you're actually writing it where it affects the story, not just affects the chapter.
That, like, don't make it a person. He could
Yeah.
have made it like a dog that was pregnant, that ended up miscarrying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you don't want to go through the process of establishing and fleshing out an actual character, make it an animal.
Or an invisible friend.
Yeah, even that would be better, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, yeah, let's replace fridging with literal fridges being unplugged. That is a start. That should be the start of the next action movie. You unplugged my fridge, you son of a bitch. My hot
like
pocket's all de-thawed.
No. You unplugged my fridge. Sing. Go on, Popcorn, sorry.
I was just gonna say, that's like how the entirety of the Big Lebowski starts with someone peeing on the dude's rug.
Yeah. Didn't they also steal the rug?
No, they peed on his rug because they mistook him for the other Big Lebowski, then he took the Big Lebowski's rug, and then they stole that rug back.
Yeah. Okay, so, for your action movie joke here before we start the candy, you unplugged my fridge. It had the last of the ecto coolers in the world.
Yeah.
Like, make an entire action movie where it's got, like, this one rare food item that he spent a fortune to get, and then it got unplugged and got destroyed.
Alright. I'm going to end the recording here. But for our audience, you'll get this. We're going to be watching
Overly sarcastic video on Sisyphus.
Yeah.
So, all of you people watching the recording, have a good night. And next week we'll pick up with something new. Probably the Ed Boys. Bye.
Bye-bye.